Bill, we're going to win. Let me just tell you that. We're going to win. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but we will win.
You say that with such conviction.
I have no doubt, but I also have no doubt it's going to be a lot of work. And everyone's going to have to participate. This is a democracy.
That was Vice President Kamala Harris on with Bill Whitaker, 60 Minutes this past Sunday. I implore all of you to watch that interview. It's enlightening. She looks amazing as well, but she had a lot of conviction. Rachel Bitecofer is here shaking her head. Yes. I liked seeing her in that position. I've been saying all along, if Joe Biden knew that he was the bridge, then you need to bolster the heir apparent. You need to put the heir apparent in positions so that she could look and feel for the rest of us like the president of the United States, because we all know that that was important. And I just feel like he didn't do that enough, in my opinion. But, maybe it wasn't for him to do. Maybe it was for her. I don't know, Rachel. I don't know how these things work.
They figured it out. But you're right. The first couple of years, they neglected to understand that by being heir apparent, the presumptive front runner when Joe Biden doesn't run in 28, that the GOP machine would immediately do what they did to Hillary Clinton in 2014 and 2015 and work to brand her. So if you haven't watched that interview and you are slightly convinced that Kamala Harris is, not meeting the moment, or she's not smart enough, or whatever, you buy some of these GOP talking points that they've been able to fill that vacuum with, I urge you to listen to this and watch this CBS interview, because it really demonstrates what a strong presidential candidate and strong vice president our former senator and attorney general of California really is.
All right. 866-801-8255. Okay. Dean Phillips, RFK, Marianne Williamson, Cornel West, your mama, my mama, everybody and their other mama trying to come into this race at this point. What do you say? Because I felt like Dean Phillips hit on something that really is, I think, where a lot of folk are. I think
sure they are. Yeah, I think the average person is very inclined to report that they would prefer a new candidate. Now, if I was to be able to sit down with them or do a survey in which I explain the presidential incumbency advantage and the significant structural advantage that it provides to the N party, and then ask people if they still want to replace Joe Biden, I am certain I could take that number down quite a bit. But it's not a piece of information that I would expect average American voters, citizens, to be thinking about. It's an advantage that the Republican Party would slobber with joy if we were to give it up. And that's why I'm very excited that there isn't real challenge to Biden. Yes, Dean Phillips has done this run, but he's going to begin and end at 1% name ID. Nobody knows who he is.
So why does he even think, like, I said, who? A representative from where? Why? Yes, I had all of the W's right there.
Well, I'll tell you, I think it's because Steve Schmidt, who was of the Lincoln Project but got kicked out because of his stupid third-party presidential run dabbling in 2020. See, Steve Schmidt, who's way too smart to not know better, needs a candidate to milk for money. And these guys, whether you're just a House member or state Senate, whatever, governors, especially, and state senators, you have a bubble and you're very popular in that bubble. And it's very easy to inflate those egos further enough to make them think now is the time for me to run for president. Right. So I do think that there is some poor advice that was given to Dean Phillips. And that's because consultants don't get paid if you don't run.
I'm going to have Cenk Uygur on. I forgot about him. I don't even think he can run. He's not an American citizen by birth, right? He's a citizen because he's from there. I'm like,
which is why probably the only thing that saved us from Elon Musk, guys.
Oh my God! But I kind of wish Arnold Schwarzenegger could have run. Anyway, that's another story for another day. I really like him, his sensibilities a lot. But yeah, Jake says he's running. How? Are we that dumb that people don't even know that he technically cannot run? How is he running?
Yeah, no, people really are that ill-informed. And, when I talk about dumbness, I mean specifically civic dumbness, right? So I talk about how America is a caloric, rich, first world country with a very educated population. compared to historical standards. We're not dumb, right? But you can be incredibly smart like Elon Musk and still be civically stupid like Elon Musk. If you don't understand and you haven't studied how government functions, people think it's about access, and it is, and that's why Republicans hammer at access, especially for minorities, because they know if they make it hard to vote, less people will vote. That's just a fact, right? But at the end of the day, the deficit that's killing our democracy in terms of the mass public isn't so much that, it's a lack of interest in politics. And a case in point, like, I know a lot about college football. I can tell you everything, almost anything you want to know. I even follow the recruiting, okay? But I don't like opera at all. And if you ask me right now to name a popular opera singer, the only person I could come up with would be Pavarotti, who was a famous opera singer in the 80s and is the only opera singer I could name. Now, if I was into opera like I am about college football, that would be different, right? So we really have to understand when we're talking to folks, is that we have to bring them up to speed of what you know, because they don't know what you know. And I hear consultants or, activists or candidates sometimes say when they're meeting with me, they'll say, well, doesn't everybody know that? And, the point is, no, actually, they don't know that. The reason people are so seemingly sleepy about our crisis, about what happens, is that they don't know about the fake electors plot. They couldn't name Kevin McCarthy. They don't know. And if we don't tell them what's happening, they will never know. And so that's really strategically what we need to be focused on.
Or someone else will tell them other information.
That's exactly
on a loop
right.
in sound bites. And
Yes.
you'll believe that because you don't have an answer for it.
And that's
as you were
exactly
talking,
how they get our they've been hunting in the voter file. First, they targeted non-college educated whites. Okay. That was like a 20-year effort to push them. And that's why the Midwest, all these white non-college people who are in unions voting for a party that bust unions, right? But then they started to hey, it worked for them. Let's try with you don't have information, Karen. So it's not about calling non-college educated people stupid. I'm just saying they don't have the context and the background information to guard against a propaganda campaign. And so when you say they'll fill the vacuum, well, that's exactly what they did in the Latino bucket pool, and with Black men in particular. They've been targeting them with the opposite narrative, which is that we're a threat to them, that we're socialist, that we want to mutilate their child's genitalia. That's what the message is going to be in 2024.
that we're pushing gay issues, that
Mhm.
we are making women independent, which will not. I mean, it is masterful.
Yes.
It's masterful because there's a thread of truth in it, right?
Yes.
And that's all you need, just a little bit of yeast to get in there. And sometimes you can get an infection though. Rachel's here. Rachel Bitecofer is here, that little bit of yeast. Let's go to the phones. The number is 866-801-8255. As I promised, let's go to Sean. Sean in New York, you're on. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Professor Hunter.
Hi, I can barely hear him.
Well.
Bring him up, Smiz.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there we go.
Now we got it.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you and your guests. Hey, let me say this. I think Trump is a disgrace. I don't think he should have ever served as president. However, I will say this, even though I voted for Biden, I do not believe that Biden-Harris ticket will win again. I think that a Democratic primary would be in the best interest for everyone. No matter what they are telling you, the economy, the American people as a whole, we are in a bad state. Doesn't matter what type of propaganda that anyone wants to push. The facts are the facts.
Where are you getting your facts?
By living life.
Okay, so you're saying you, Sean, in New York, are having a bad go economically.
No.
You're not having a bad go economically. So
no, I'm going to tell you how I understand this.
You pay for radio.
I drive a truck for a living.
Yes.
No,
so you're not.
I drive a truck for a living.
Okay.
Right? No, I drive a truck for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Every single thing in the American economy has to go on a truck. If you look at the trucking industry, you can see how the economy is going. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Okay, I respect that. All right, we got
it's
limited
not
time.
doing
So
well.
all of this, yes. Okay, so let's go with your hypothesis. Is not rooted in fact. It's rooted in your anecdotes from what you know as a truck driver, which I respect. Are you not voting in 2024? Are you going to vote?
I'm not sure how I'm going to vote. I don't know, to be quite honest with you. And the
Okay.
reality is, you cannot put fear into people.
No,
to
I'm not. And I
motivate them
did.
to vote.
There's no fear. I
You
asked you a
have to
simple
give
question.
them-
I
yeah,
asked you a
you have
simple
to give
question, but
them
you're
something.
being defensive because because you're intelligent. Because I hear it. You're smart. You know what I'm asking you is, you're not voting, and you know this in your heart. If I don't vote, then I'm actually voting. And if I don't vote for Biden, I'm actually voting. And then when the horrible thing happens, again, because I've had so many people in 2016 regret that they did a third party, that they voted for Jill Stein, or they didn't vote. And then because no one thought Trump was going to be elected, except for me and a couple of them, I'm sure Rachel did too. And then they were like, oh, damn, I didn't know that can happen. So, Sean, and it's not fair. These are facts, just like your facts about the economy. So what
Vote
would it
because
take?
Somebody's going. I have to vote because somebody's going to represent me, right? So, and I know I sound frustrated, but I'm going to vote.
Listen,
I just
we're all
don't- I
frustrated.
just-
Let me hold on, because we're all frustrated. No one wants to be where we are right now. Okay, I promise you, anyone listening with a brain does not want to be here. But this is our reality, okay? And at the end of the day, again, you may have the option to leave. I may have the option to leave. Rachel can leave. Rachel can blend in. Rachel's going to be okay. We're probably going to be okay. But there's a whole swath of us that will not be okay. And I can't sit here every day and be okay with everyone else suffering. I'm sorry. I just can't. So if I got to hold my nose and close my eyes and go in deaf and vote for Joe Biden in 2024, that's exactly what I'm going to do, because the alternative is people in chains. And I'm not being hyperbolic. Like, it's going to go down. They have a whole 1,000-page book. You think they wasted that money giving it out for free if they didn't plan on? And they've done it. So we've watched affirmative action go. So this is not even about jokes right now. Affirmative action, Roe v. Wade got overturned in our generation. They have a whole game plan, and they got the lower courts because Trump sat most of them mother freakers when he was in office. They got the Supreme Court because Trump sat most of them mother freakers when he was in office. And now they got half of the damn legislative branch. If they get the presidency and we don't show up in 2024, and they somehow get the Senate too, running a Boston on us. And when it's us, Black people.
Yes.
And you ain't getting no reparations, I promise you. Okay? Oh my goodness. Sean, say your last thing. And Rachel, can you stick around? I'm sorry.
As horrible as I think the Republican Party is, I just think they're more strategic and well organized than
they
the
are.
Democratic Party.
Yes, we all agree. So what?
Well, who do you blame? I
blame all of us because we got complacent, as Rachel said, and said, oh, isn't that interesting? Oh, they want to get rid of, okay, hey, that'll never happen. Oh, yeah, look at that. And we kept voting without expecting. I saw at least 1,000 people go to the White House and take pictures with Michelle and Barack Obama. Now, did any of them ask, hey, voting rights, anti-police, police brutality, but like, can you executive order this? Lily Ledbetter's cute, but what about this? I didn't see anybody asking. I've asked the people who were in the room, what did you ask for? Y'all saw me ask Mark Morial. You were at the table with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Did you ask for anything? Instead, the man got belligerent on these airwaves with his camera up his nose and being really disrespectful when you're in the room with these people and we keep donating and not holding folk accountable. I'm sorry, Sean, I love you. I love you enough to say, yes, you're right on all fronts, and your ass still better show up and vote in November for Joe Biden, period. There's no option.
Amen.
I run my fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you're lusting is the one